My name is Zachary, and I am from Columbus, Georgia. I grew up in a family that followed the Lord. My dad's a pastor, still is a pastor. Loved music, grew up, singing in church, writing music, leading worship in church. And so really felt kind of just that push to just kind of study more music. And so I applied to music college in Boston, got accepted and started studying vocal performance, but also music business. And through those years, I had my faith, but it was definitely, a little shaky because I went from kind of like this church bubble, grew up in a Christian school, went to a Christian school, and then basically got thrown into like this, arts college. Kind of towards the end of college, definitely started thinking of like the next steps, what was going to happen. And I got an opportunity to work basically in a music therapy program, but it was based in India. And so went out there to visit and kind of just see what that would look like. And it was teaching music to kids who came from really difficult backgrounds, but they added music as their therapy, as their program. In 2010, I moved to Calcutta. I felt like the kind of just that push to stay put a little bit and not do this whole back and forth, internship and go back to America. It just felt just that leading kind of just to stay put. Spent 10 years in India, living there full time. So from 2010 to 2019, mostly my life has been in India. Definitely for me and for my family's life, our faith is just a huge part of who we are. Our relationship with Jesus is just a huge part, and it kind of, it's in everything that we do. So the love that we have for people is literally because of Jesus, and the love of the work that we do is because of Jesus. Even just like working with musicians and creative people, I'm able to kind of just, where I get my strength and to share where I get my strength from. I have technically four tattoos, but I have three tattoos. I got them all done in Calcutta, and it's by a studio, Forever Poetry Tattoos. And the first one that I have, it's the initials of our firstborn baby girl, Chloe West Ray. And so the initials is actually, the script is actually the same kind of script that I got my wife a necklace with those initials on. So I use that script that she has a gold chain with the initials on it. And so I just use that same script. So it's Chloe West Ray, and she was our firstborn baby girl. She actually passed away in a stillbirth, and so we buried her in Calcutta. We had a memorial for her in Calcutta, and just even in that season, you go through this whole season of just feeling kind of just abandoned by God in a way, and just we weren't near immediate family, and so through that season, I really, really clung to my faith and clung to Jesus. Maybe not initially, because just all the emotions that come through that. But during that season, really all I had was, my wife and Jesus, and that was it. And her name actually means to bloom. So Chloe means to bloom. So in a way, I think we buried her in the soil of India. And so through that, whatever, her story is not like finished in a way. The second one that I have is on my shoulder, and that's right here. And it's actually the coordinates of the Taj Mahal. And that's where I proposed to Amanda. So that's really special place for us. And so I have the coordinates right on my shoulder. And then the third one I have right here, it looks like eighth notes. They're music notes, but they're actually, when Amanda was pregnant with our second child, Caden, there was a time that we were checked into the hospital and she had to have all these, hooked up to a bunch of stuff. And they were just checking the heartbeat of Caden and making sure he was fine and everything. Every time Caden kicked or moved, Amanda had to press a little button. And on the graph, it would come up, every time he kicked. And so they actually printed out as eighth notes. Us, both Amanda and I are musicians, and then Caden hopefully will be a musician, and his kicks were printed out as eighth notes. So I got that. So that represents kind of God's faithfulness of just Chloe, and then a year later we had Caden. Everything that I've been through in my life, whether it's good or bad, through many different seasons, one of the constant things that has been constant is God's goodness in my life. And there are times when you don't feel that, and when you don't feel that God is good, but He is always faithful and He's always good. And so whatever season I'm in, whether it's a good season or a bad season, whatever circumstance you're facing, I think that's the one thing that I always remember, is that He's good and He's faithful.